Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Weekly Connect for March 22nd and 23rd. And this week we are going over Jesus and how he healed three different people in the Bible, which of course he healed many more than that, but we're going to focus on these three. And our Bible passage is pretty long. It is out of Matthew chapter 8, verse 1 through 4, also chapter 9, verse 18 through 26, and Mark chapter 5, 21 through 43. It's healing the leper, Jairus' daughter, and the sick woman. So our memory verse this week is Galatians 2, verse 20. And that is, I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I now live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. It's a really long verse, so if you want to put some motions to that to help them better remember it or whatever, feel free to be creative there. So as you go into your small group before the story this week, you are going to play a game called Feeling for Paper Clips. So you're going to have in your room some rice uncooked, a bowl or a bucket, and some paper clips. And what you're going to do is mix the paper clips in with the rice, and then you're going to blindfold one child. And that child is going to sift through the rice and try to find as many paper clips as he or she can. And you're going to do that with as many, hopefully all of the kids, but as many kids as you can in that allotted time. And whoever gets the most amount of paper clips wins. And it's all about touching and how these people were healed because of Jesus's touch, or something along those lines. So after your activity, you're going to transition into large group and ask the Connect question: would you rather visit the doctor or the dentist, and why? When I read that, I thought none, neither. That's mine. And the reason is because I don't like either, but pick the lesser of the two evils, I guess, and then let the kids go ahead and share their answers, and then go straight into your story. And you're going to put the kids into three groups. You can either play the Connect game beforehand, which will put the kids all into three different groups, or you can put the kids into three groups at the beginning of your story. But each group is going to represent one of the people that were healed when Jesus talked to or touched them. Now, each time you talk about either Jairus or the leper, or Jairus' daughter, or the leper, or the sick woman, each group that represents that person is going to yell, "Jesus, help!" So you can practice that a couple times before you begin teaching. So our story is obviously about how Jesus heals. And as I was reading through the story, and as I went to my Bible to then read it out of there, it struck me that these days we don't see healing of the sick exactly in the same way that we did in biblical times. And I don't know if that's because Jesus's work was completed on the cross and now God is just waiting, so a lot of our healing comes through the Holy Spirit, or why we don't see those kind of miracles these days. But God still does miraculously heal people. And my experience in just little ways of seeing God's healing has always been through prayer. And though our lesson this week isn't out of prayer, isn't about prayer, I do want to encourage you guys that if you are needing healing from a sickness or an illness, please email us. We always love to hear your prayer requests, and I know that there is power in prayer, especially when you've got more than one person praying for you. And just wanted to give you a short story real quick as it pertains to prayer and my life and what I've seen. My 9-year-old daughter Angelica has had a little hamster for a long time, a few months, and we had some company from the church come over, not last Sunday but the Sunday before, and the little boy, who's 4, got into the hamster cage, and after he left we could not find the hamster anywhere. We searched the entire house, and it was literally a search and rescue mission. And after about 4 days of not finding the hamster, it turned into a recovery mission. We were certain we were going to find a dead hamster somewhere, but still didn't find it. And I know my daughter and my husband and me, we've all individually been praying that we just find this hamster. And I think my husband and I were praying that we just find it sooner than later, because we were expecting to find a dead hamster and we didn't want smells or one of our kids to find it, God forbid. So last night, as we were tucking my daughter into bed, she said, can we all pray together that we find my hamster? And of course she wanted to find it alive, and so my husband and I said, sure, let's go ahead and pray for that. And we did. We prayed that either God allow us to find the hamster alive, or that he give our daughter peace, that she won't have the hamster anymore. And sure enough, bright and early this morning at about 4:30, my 5-year-old shouted throughout the house, I found the hamster, I found the hamster. And we thought, oh, for certain the hamster's dead. Not at all. The hamster is very alive. It was hiding in a little bin in Angelica's closet where some food had gotten in, and we're surprised that the hamster is alive. She hasn't had any water for a week and a half, so by all intents and purposes, she should not be alive. So it's definitely an answer to prayer. And we got to tell Angelica, look, see, God does hear our prayers, and he always answers. He always answers our prayers. So let that just be encouraging to you, that if you do have a sickness or an illness and you do need healing, or you know someone who does, share your prayers with us via email, or give us a call, or give me a text. I would love to pray with you over the phone, or just pray with you in private, but pray alongside you. And the other Gals and Children's Ministry would love that as well. So, and it'll go right along with this story. So after you finish up telling your story, and hopefully being able to share a personal story about how you've seen God's healing, go straight into worship. And we are not going to do the big fun singing worship this week. We're going to do some contemplative worship and prayer. So you will have a roll, or maybe a couple rolls depending on the size of your group, of gauze, and a tub of water. And those things are going to be in different stations. They're going to be called healing stations. And what we want the kids is to take at the healing station with the gauze, we want them to take a marker and write the name of a person or themselves that need healing, and then wrap that around themselves as they pray for that person. And then they can go over to the water bins, and I'm not actually quite sure. I think they wash away the pain of others with the water, and it's going to be kind of symbolic. Or they can just do that as a form of cleansing, as a symbolic form of cleansing as they pray. And so hopefully this worship time will just be a time where they can kind of contemplate and think about how God heals, and think about other people that they know that might need healing, whether it be from the flu that's going around, or something even more severe like cancer, or a debilitating illness. So after that, you can bless the kids. And this week, you're going to have the kids, after you speak each line, they're going to say, yes, praise the Lord. So make sure you lead them through that blessing. It's very, very cool. That blessing is out of Psalm 103, verses 1 through 5. Then transition into your small group, and you can do one or two of these things. You can do the reflect questions, or you can do the activity. And the activity is telephone. And the instructions on your curriculum is for all of the groups to do the written form of telephone, but as I was reading through it, it is a little complicated. So for first and second, maybe even third graders, you can just play a normal game of telephone. But if you're with an older group, or you think your kids can handle the complexity of this game, you can play the hear and draw telephone. So you'd have the kids sit in a circle, give every other child a blank piece of index paper, and then a pen or a pencil. And you're going to have one child who doesn't have a card whisper a phrase or something into the ear of someone who does have a card. That person then will draw a picture of what they think they heard. No words, no symbols, no letters, but they'll draw a picture. And then when they're done, they'll give their card to the person to their right who doesn't have a card, and that person will whisper into the ear of the next, and so on and so forth. So it'll be hearing, drawing, and then see what they come up with at the very end. It'll probably be really interesting. I know the game of telephone is difficult enough, even for adults. We sometimes mishear things and misperceive things, but can you imagine having to not only say it, but share it with your own artistic abilities? So it should be a lot of fun. After that, you can go ahead and dismiss the kids to their parents. Make sure you give them their take-home sheets, and there are 3 questions on their take-home sheets that we're encouraging them to fill out. Remind them to bring in offering for worship and for the next week. And if you are teaching next week or want to know what we're teaching on, we're doing the centurion's plea, and that can be found in Luke chapter 7, verse 1 through 10. So I will be praying for you guys this week with or without prayer requests, and please pray for me too as I gear up to teach right alongside you. And please, I encourage you to share prayer requests with us this week, even if it's something you might be a little uncomfortable with or have never done it before. It will be confidential, and I would just love to be able to pray with you guys, and Denise, Laura, and Marco would as well. So be well, and please reserve a lot of time for preparing this week, as our lesson is really intensive and there's a lot of moving parts to it. So if you have any questions, let us know, and if not, we'll see you guys again next week. Take care.